If you've been watering your plants the way your neighbor does, or following a rigid schedule without looking at your soil, you might be unknowingly limiting your harvest. Welcome to Evergreen Garden, where we turn everyday gardeners into thriving green thumbs. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below with your own watering struggles. This is a space where your questions will get real answers. Today, we're going to completely change the way you think about watering, so you can stop wasting time and start seeing bigger, healthier yields. Most gardeners water too often and too shallowly. One of the biggest mistakes I see, even from experienced gardeners, is watering frequently, but just enough to keep the soil moist on the surface. Plants don't live in the top inch of soil. They send roots deep to find water. When you only wet the surface, roots stay shallow, making plants weak and more vulnerable to drought and disease. For example, tomato plants watered shallowly will grow long, skinny roots near the surface, and when the weather turns hot, their foliage will wilt quickly. Instead, aim to water deeply but less frequently. This trains the roots to grow deeper, anchoring the plant and allowing it to access nutrients from deeper soil layers. For most garden vegetables, that means delivering water slowly, so it penetrates at least 6 inches into the soil. You can test this by sticking a trowel in your bed after watering. If the soil below 4 to 6 inches is still dry, you haven't gone deep enough. Not all soils absorb and retain water the same way. Sandy soils drain quickly, while clay soils hold moisture for much longer. If you water clay too often, you're suffocating the roots because water replaces air pockets in the soil. On the other hand, sandy soils need more frequent watering, but in smaller, controlled amounts to prevent runoff. A practical approach is to adjust your watering based on the feel of the soil. For instance, in clay-heavy garden beds, water thoroughly once or twice a week, making sure the soil becomes moist several inches deep. In sandy beds, a lighter watering every other day may be more effective. Observing how quickly your soil dries will help you dial in the right rhythm for your garden. Timing is often overlooked, yet it's crucial for bigger harvests. Watering in the heat of the day causes rapid evaporation, meaning most of your effort disappears before it even reaches the roots. Early morning is ideal because it gives the soil time to soak up water before the sun hits. Evening watering can also work, but increases the risk of fungal diseases if the leaves stay wet overnight. For example, peppers and eggplants develop stronger stems when watered early, whereas the same plants watered at midday might show stress and even leaf scorch. Adjust your routine so that water reaches the soil efficiently, not just the leaves. Use techniques that deliver water directly to the roots. Surface watering with a hose or overhead sprinkler may be convenient, but it isn't always efficient. Drip irrigation, soaker hoses, or simply pouring water at the base of each plant ensures that moisture goes where it's needed. For a tomato plant, placing a soaker hose around the drip line and running it for 30 minutes can penetrate deeply into the soil, encouraging a dense root system. Even if you hand water, apply water slowly in a small basin around each plant instead of just spraying quickly and moving on. This method reduces runoff and evaporation while forcing the soil to absorb water more thoroughly. Mulch to conserve water and enhance root growth. Mulching isn't just for looks. It's a secret weapon in achieving bigger harvests. A 2 to 3 inch layer of organic mulch like straw, shredded leaves, or composted bark helps retain soil moisture, moderates temperature, and suppresses weeds. For example, cucumber vines under a thick mulch retain soil moisture for days longer than bare soil, meaning you can water less frequently while giving the roots a stable environment. Mulching also prevents soil crusting, which improves infiltration when you do water, making each irrigation more effective. Check your plants, not just your watering schedule. Finally, stop relying solely on a calendar. Plants give you clear signs of what they need. Wilted leaves don't always mean I need water. Sometimes overwatering is the problem. A good test is to gently squeeze the soil at the root zone. If it's moist below the surface, skip watering and let the plant recover. If it's dry several inches down, it's time to water. This observation-based approach, combined with deep watering and mulching, often doubles harvest size compared to rigid, shallow schedules. To give a real-world example, for a standard 3 by 3 foot raised vegetable bed, apply about 1 to 2 gallons of water per plant per session, depending on soil type and weather. For tomatoes, water deeply twice a week in clay soil, but every other day in sandy soil. Always check soil moisture before adding more. Start small, measure carefully, and notice how your plants respond. This is gardening science in action. Once your roots go deep, you'll see bigger fruits, healthier leaves, and a resilient garden that can handle heat, wind, and drought much better. By rethinking your watering, observing your plants, and using techniques that encourage deep roots, you are setting the stage for the garden of your dreams. Every drop matters, and every deep watering pays off with larger, more abundant harvests. You'll find that your garden not only survives but thrives when you water smartly, not just regularly. If you found this guide useful, make sure to subscribe to Evergreen Garden for more practical, no-nonsense gardening tips. Share this video with your fellow gardeners. Leave a comment about your watering wins or mistakes, and let's grow together. When you change the way you water, you're not just saving time, you're creating a garden that rewards you with bigger, tastier, and more resilient harvests year after year.